To John Yoo now, former Deputy Assistant Attorney General and law professor at UC Berkeley. John, thanks for getting up this Saturday morning with us, first of all. To the untrained legal mind, such as my own, it does seem a stretch for the federal government to target one university in the shape of Harvard and say you can't bring in any international students. How do you see this playing out legally speaking, John?
First off, Harvard University, Berkeley, no university is in charge of giving out visas to students. The control over visas and the border and immigration is in the hands of the federal government. In this case, Congress has delegated to the president the power to decide who should come in and out for national security reasons. Now, President Trump claims that what's been going on at Harvard is insufficient monitoring of Chinese students and other foreign students to see if they're engaged in any kind of espionage, to see if they're engaged in any kind of harm to the American national security. So if Harvard is going to fight with President Trump over that, President Trump, I think, and the federal government could say, look, we're going to take away your right to give out visas, which we share with you because we want to make it easier to do. And even if Trump loses this case in court, he has other powers. For example, you remember, Jonathan, in the first term, Trump imposed what was called then the travel ban, and that was upheld by the Supreme Court. So what if Trump says, okay, we lose this case, we're just going to deny visas ourselves to anyone who wants to stay at Harvard, or worse yet, anyone who wants to study at a top university in the United States? That would be a disaster for higher education and the United States, and I would say for the world. So I would hope that Harvard, instead of suing the Trump administration, fighting on this issue, which I think ultimately the government will win, it should come to some kind of settlement that represents a good deal for the administration and for not just Harvard, but all the other top research universities in the country.
So what would that settlement look like, John?
Well, I think what the Trump administration wants, and I think what you might say national security professionals might want, would be very tight scrutiny over Chinese students coming to the United States. China is a rival. It's a competitor. We know that they have sent students to the United States to try to steal technology and industrial secrets. There are hundreds of thousands. I think the last count is over 300,000, maybe even 400,000 Chinese students every year in the United States. So at the very least, I think for national security reasons, there should be closer scrutiny on Chinese students. Harvard, I think the Trump administration would also like Harvard to reform its treatment of Jewish students and to stop discriminating on race in its admissions, because it's been, I think, caught by the Supreme Court 2 years ago, systematically using race in the way it makes decisions on applicants. And I think the Trump administration believes using Harvard's own internal studies has not been protecting Jewish students from anti-Semitism.
Yeah, and of course, John, this goes well beyond Harvard, as you were mentioning. The State Department does have the singular right to look at all of these student visa grants, and they have said they're going to do a lot more of that, looking at social media, etc. There's no legal question there, is there, John, that the State Department, the federal government, has the absolute right to decide every single visa for every single applicant?
That's right, Jonathan. Harvard doesn't decide. Berkeley doesn't decide what students come in. We may admit them, but they still have to get a visa. And that is purely up to the federal government. People, students, aliens don't have a right to come into the United States. It's a privilege. And it's up to the Congress and giving that power, delegating that power to the president to decide who gets those visas and who comes in. Now, obviously, Harvard has picked a fight with the Trump administration, and the Trump administration is picking a fight with Harvard. They both seem to like the symbolism of the other, right? But caught in the crossfire are these students, are faculty members like me, are researchers who want to work with foreign students and foreign professors. I don't think it's good for there to be a total cutoff between the United States and the rest of the world in the exchange of information and research. So there has to be some kind of settlement, because you're right, Jonathan. Ultimately, this is going to be under the power of the federal government. If Trump were to lose on this issue, taking away this visa granting power, then, as you say, Jonathan, the State Department can just do it directly and deny visas to everyone who wants to go to Harvard.
And John, I wonder on the issue of the international students and their enrichment or otherwise, of universities like Berkeley, where my daughter, by the way, is heading to join you very soon. I'm very excited about that. What do international students bring to a university? And I assume you would not want to see international students going down to zero in American colleges.
Jonathan, congratulations on your daughter. She got into Berkeley. She's a lot smarter than you or me, because it was a lot easier to get into college 30 years ago.
Certainly
than it is
smarter
now,
than me, that's for sure.
You know, one thing I try to explain to my friends who like the bashing on Harvard is it's true that our universities have gotten a little out of control with political correctness and wokeness. At the same time, our universities are the class of the field. They're the envy of the world. That's why you have 400,000 Chinese students, hundreds of thousands of students from all over the world want to come to the United States because they can only get the education and training they get here versus universities in the rest of the world. But they also enrich our economy. There are these studies that show that a large number of innovators, entrepreneurs, CEOs of high-tech companies are foreign-born students who come here, get advanced degrees in the sciences, for example, and then stay and create jobs. We don't want to ruin that relationship. We also don't want to lose the ability to learn from what's going on in the rest of the world by bringing the world's best students here. And so I think that's a relationship that I think even President Trump would want to preserve.
Yeah. John, it is always great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. And please keep an eye on my daughter Lily when she gets up to Berkeley. John, thank you so much.
I can't do the impossible, Jonathan, but I'd love to see her when she gets here.
I know you'll try. Thank you, John.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.